What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of The Girl Who Talks Sports, the podcast where we talk sports and other girly things. I am Sam Cardona, and thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. Now, usually we have a guest. I am going solo this week, but mostly because there is things I want to talk about, but nothing like absolutely insanely crazy going on in terms of preseason in the NFL. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a bunch of different storylines. It may be a little bit quicker than usual, but we'll get to it. We'll talk about it. We'll dissect it, if you will, and we will go from there. But obviously, before we get into our storylines today, we have to do our plugs. So don't forget to subscribe on all podcasting platforms, on anywhere that you can get a podcast from. Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is that you get podcasts from, you can find The Girl Who Talks Sports. And you can also watch our podcasts fully. If you're not watching on the YouTube right now, you can check out our YouTube channel, The Girl Who Talks Sports. Make sure to give it a subscribe and turn on notifications to make sure you're up to date of when I what was that? You're up to date to when I upload new videos, because I'm very excited to make some more extra content. Just a quick little thing, if you guys don't follow me on socials and you missed this portion of content that I was going to make, which I did make, but anyway, so Hard Knocks is on right now, the HBO show going into preseason, and they do a specific NFL team this year. It is the Dallas Cowboys. Last year, what I did was I posted recap and review videos every single week on my YouTube channel. However, this year I am very swamped with a lot of things to do, not only the podcast, but my full-time job as well. So they are 3 minutes long. I made them on TikTok and I posted on both Twitter and on Instagram, so you can find them on any of those platforms. They're quick little funny recaps of the episode. So the episodes come out Tuesday night and those recaps go out on Wednesday, the same day as our podcast episodes. So if you're interested in seeing the recaps of the Hard Knocks episodes, make sure that you check us out on socials. So that's my segue. Twitter, you can follow us. I just dropped my pen. You can follow us on Twitter at TGWTS Podcast, or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Girl Who Talks Sports. So make sure that you check us out on all of those platforms. Give us a follow along with the journey of The Girl Who Talks Sports, because it is absolutely insanely crazy. I do have another pen behind me. I was like, I wonder if I have a new pen. I do. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I always hold a pen whenever I'm like talking, because I not only have to speak with my hands a lot. I am from New York, so it's kind of hard not to do that. But I always have to have a pen in my hand, and I don't know why. Like, a lot of the times I don't even write anything down, but it just feels comfortable to hold a pen in my hand. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into this week's episode. Also, if you're watching on the YouTube channel right now, you can see that I got my podcast microphone arm back. I have a new arm for my new microphone, and I finally figured out where to place it, where to put it so that it's comfortable for me and it works with my setup. So I'm very excited about that, because I was really annoyed with having it on the stand in front of me. So we're working with it. We're doing good. We are living the dream. Let's get into our first storyline of this episode. So a lot of what we've been talking about especially the last 2 episodes, where I had the guys from Breaking Down the Tape and James from Boda Sports last week, is a lot of NFL storylines, going over a lot of quarterback competitions in the league. That's one of the main things, especially with all of the rookies that were drafted this year, right? A lot of people who are solidified in their roles, and then there are a lot of QBs that are not solidified in their roles, and they're going back and forth between the veterans and the rookies. So one that I'm going to talk about right now, there's a storyline to go along with it, which I was I had to read like 3 different articles to understand it, to be quite honest with you. Cam Newton and Mac Jones on the New England Patriots. So a lot of people were saying, Mac Jones, and I've said it, Mac Jones is like, he's fine, he's doing fine. He's a good quarterback. He's from Alabama, he's probably like really reliable. But I don't know. Personally, I mean, I know a lot of you guys have seen me, especially on social, saying like, I really don't like Mac Jones not as a QB, but just like as an entity, like as a person. I don't know him personally, but I don't know. It's just something about him just really is weird to me. However, that does not deny the fact that he is a reliable and just a solid quarterback, like nothing crazy, nothing out of the blue, nothing extraordinary, but solid. Cam Newton, on the other hand, has gone through his ups and downs, especially on the New England Patriots. However, it was expected that Cam Newton was going to be the starter for the New England Patriots this year. And this is where the storyline comes in, right? So, again, I had to read several articles to like really understand what the quote-unquote misunderstanding was here. But this is what happened. He is on COVID protocols right now. But not because he has COVID, but because of the protocols that are in place for COVID, and the NFL has led him to basically not be at practice for 5 days. And what happened is he went to a club-approved medical appointment. Like the organization approved of this and sent him out to get an appointment outside of the New England area. So it wasn't local. He had to go somewhere to do some sort of medical thing. Who knows what that means, but he was tested for COVID several times, came back negative several times. However, due to testing outside of the NFL, like out of the facility, I guess, or out of the area of New England, it means that he has to quarantine for 5 days, which is like so crazy to think about. But again, has tested negative this entire time. He will be returning Thursday, the 26th, but that's 5 days of camp without Cam Newton, who will be there virtually. He'll be there in a virtual participation. 5 days for Mac Jones to just ball the hell out. Mac Jones to come out here and say, okay, Cam's not here. I have to take the place of QB1 now, right? Because that's where, being a secondary quarterback, you move up. Mac Jones is in such a solid place right now in terms of winning over the spot. And even Bill Belichick said it. Bill Belichick said, yeah, of course Mac Jones can utilize this time to possibly become QB1. Can you imagine? Like straight up, can you imagine being Cam Newton right now? First of all, I don't think he did anything wrong. Like, I don't know if there's pieces missing from this story. I don't know if, he was in contact with someone. Like, they didn't say anything like that, but basically it's just the rules that are in place for the NFL. Him being outside of the New England area, because like, even if you travel by car, like not by plane, like if you're in a different part of the country, like it's like a whole thing. It's like if you guys have gone to the doctor recently, or even like any like a dentist appointment or something, they ask you, have you been out of the area in the past 2 weeks? Like they have to know whether you've gone, either whether it's overseas or, if it's, to a different state. So I don't know what exactly the misunderstanding is, especially because it was a club approved appointment. Cam Newton must be livid. I would be livid. I would be so pissed off at the fact that he was just doing what he was supposed to be told, and he has to miss 5 days of practice. We're an up-and-coming quarterback right on your heels, like not even like his job was solid, like right on his heels, has 5 days now to prove himself in camp. I'm just like, I would be so mad. And the Patriots are practicing with the Giants this week, and this has absolutely nothing to do with this, but with Cam Newton obviously not there, Mac Jones being the primary quarterback to be practicing, there's going to be 2 Joneses, right? Daniel Jones and Mac Jones. I realized that as I was taking my notes for this episode, and I was like, oh, would you look at that? Absolutely nothing to do with the storyline. I just wanted to point that out, that there's going to be 2 Joneses. Two Mr. Joneses, Counting Crows. Anyway, I don't know if that just showed my age. I hope people know Counting Crows, right? Song Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones and me. No? Okay. Hopefully my audience understands that. Anyway, that is that storyline. If Mac Jones ends up proving himself to the Patriots, to Bill Belichick, and Cam Newton loses his QB1 job because of this, like, no way he stays, right? He's on another 1-year deal. So I would just be pissed off at this whole situation. I would just be like, nope, this is not my fault, and you literally gave my job to somebody else, so goodbye. Like, he's going to be so petty. You know how Cam Newton is. He is going to be so flippin' petty, and I'm sort of excited for the outcome. I'm excited to see what's going to go down with this, because it's seriously just going to be redonkulous. Absolutely redonkulous. Anyway, the next thing that we're going to talk about is actually like a part 2 to a tea time. So you could say this is our tea time segment, right? We'll get into our first segments in the show, my favorite segment on the show. Tea time. Tea time is my favorite segment on the show because we delve into the hot, steamy gossip of the sports world. And this week, part 2 to a tea time we did back in January during Wild Card Weekend, post Wild Card Weekend. Discussing Wild Card Weekend. This is what my tea time was in that episode. It was Everson Griffin, Twitter fingers. Defensive end, previously on the Vikings, was in Dallas, was in Detroit, now is back in Minnesota on the Vikings. And this is the whole thing that happened. So back a ways, let's just throw it back just a little bit, back to the Twitter sphere. Everson Griffin just threw out a random tweet, like full-blown random, added the Vikings official Twitter account, saying Kirk Cousins is ass, right? Just straight up, he was like, no anything that caused it. I don't think Kirk Cousins said anything to him. Like, Kirk Cousins really seems just like a dad, just like a regular dude, just like whatever. Again, we don't know, but Everson Griffin apparently had to make his thoughts known that 1, Kirk Cousins is ass. 2, he sent out a couple more tweets that basically was like, Zimmer didn't want him. Like, the coach was like, no, we don't want him. What do we, blah, 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 blah. Deleted the tweets. This is a recap, by the way. Recapping previous tea time. Deleted the tweets. Obviously, the beauty of the internet, nothing is ever deleted. People had screenshots. And then kind of like made another just like half-assed apology that was saying, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I want to be on the Vikings. Like, this whole time he was trying to pursue to be on the Vikings, and then tweeted out that Kirk Cousins was ass, which makes absolutely zero sense. Just goes to show some of these men just do not have a filter, which is hilarious to think about. Now, Everson Griffin is officially back with the Minnesota Vikings and has said nothing but good things about the Vikings. He was like, Detroit and Dallas were never my homes. The grass was never greener there. Minnesota is where I belong. I love this organization. Da 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 da. It literally does not make any sense. However, he did, like I said, he had apologized, whatever, on Twitter, saying he was sorry about the things that he said about Kirk. But you know what Everson Griffin hasn't done yet? As a new defensive end for the Minnesota Vikings, spoken to Kirk Cousins. He has not spoken to Kirk Cousins. And he said in a press conference, I guess, or whatever, was like, oh yeah, I still have to go talk to Kirk and apologize. Bro, what are you waiting for? What in the world are you waiting for? Go to your QB. I get it, you're a defensive end. You're not on the offense. He's not going to be throwing you the ball or anything. You're not going to be like losing targets for this. But that's the quarterback of the team that you begged to be a part of again. And you're back on the team now because Coach Zimmer came out and was just like, we wouldn't bring him back unless, we absolutely needed him. Like they're saying that they absolutely needed Everson Griffin on their team. Still hasn't gone back to Kirk Cousins to apologize for calling him ass. I am absolutely distraught over this information. I don't understand. What in the world are you waiting for, Everson? Just go on and, like, again, maybe at this point in time, like, it's already happened. And maybe they'll never even report on it happening. But I have a feel, like, the fact that they're talking about it now, like, they're bringing it up again, just goes to show, like, people remember what you said, dude. Like, if everyone else remembers what you said, that means Kirk knows what you said. Like, there's no way nobody told Kirk that you said that he was ass. There's a lot of ass in this episode. I don't think I've ever said the word ass this much in an episode, to be honest with you. But that is our part 2 tea time for this week. Just absolutely blows my mind. Just absolutely blows my mind. And I really, again, if it was possible for them to record, like, have, like, a public apology where Everson comes out and he's like, Kirk, I'm sorry for tweeting all of those mean things about you, I would just slurp it up. Put it in a little sippy cup. I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it. But I doubt that's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to get another part to this. I don't know if they're going to make it newsworthy at all. But we will see. We will definitely see. And if they do, trust me, we will go over it on the show. 100%. I will not miss it. Oh, and just another quick little tea. Like, we're not really going to go too much into it, but Antonio Brown got into a fight last week at the Buccaneers-Titans practice. And are we surprised? Not really. You know, like, I don't know if Tom had a conversation with him. You know, him and Tom are, like, very close with one another. They were roommates, or they still are roommates. I don't even know where Antonio Brown lives at this point in time. But got into another fight. Just, like, doing his thing. Always starting a problem. It's fine, though. But maybe Tom had a conversation with him. Was like, bro, you can't try and punch the teammates, the team that we're practicing with. That's not how this works. You have to be civil. You need to make sure that everything's okay. Maybe Antonio was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I got this. You know, we're good. But I don't know. Moving on to another QB competition story that I have been focused on the past 2 weeks for sure. Like, we have just been all in on the Chicago Bears. Right? We have just been following Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, who's going to be QB1 for the Bears. And everybody that I've talked to is all in on Fields. Just completely in on the fact that this kid should be the starter for the Bears and that Andy Dalton should 100% not be the starter for the Bears. If you watched last week's episode with me and James, we basically talked about how it would just be beneficial for Justin Fields to not start for the Chicago Bears. Now, if he starts, honestly, I think they're in a win-win situation here. It's like either sit Justin and chill out and have you learn a little bit and just relax, or start Justin and odds are you're going to win some games. But I genuinely think having Andy Dalton come in and be the starter for the Bears for at least week 1, it takes the nerves out of Justin Fields a little bit. And he even said, like, he was very upset with the way Bears fans were treating Andy Dalton because Andy Dalton is just a person, just like everybody else. And while he did not perform the best at their preseason game, hold on, I have the statistics here. At the preseason game against the Bills, which was like a revenge game also because Mitch Trubisky previously played for the Bears, as we know, and Josh Allen was not playing in this preseason game. Therefore, QB2, Mitch Trubisky came in and played against the Bears and was phenomenal and just outstanding. But what Andy Dalton did was there was 3 3-and-outs and a fumble. Just a horrible first half for him, to be honest with you. But the Bills basically led 34-6 in the half. And then Justin Fields came in and everybody was cheering and so excited. They were booing Andy Dalton. And I actually have a quote from Justin Fields about how he felt about that. So this is what he said, what he told reporters. Hold on, I need to zoom in. Okay. I really think it's kind of disrespectful to Andy, them cheering my name out like that. Just cheer him on, That's not helping Andy play better to cheer my name. That's not doing none of that. My advice to them would be just cheer whoever's on the field, which I think is a very mature and good answer as a rookie quarterback to come out and say, knowing he is very good and everybody loves him and he can be the starter for this team. Knowing that, came out and said, that's my QB1. That's my veteran quarterback. That's my mentor. Do not boo him and cheer my name. Like, that's not how this works. So I think that was a very mature and good way of saying, to Bears fans who might listen to Justin Fields, that it's just, it's really not okay to boo your QB1 and cheer on your QB2 when they're basically on the same team. Again, while Dalton might not be the best, I really think it's just more beneficial to this organization to have him start. And I've said this maybe like 3 or 4 times at this point. I genuinely think Dalton's going to go out there, whether it's the first week, second week, whatever. I really think he's going to end up getting hurt and Fields is going to come in. Like, that's going to be the reason why Fields comes into the game, is because Dalton can no longer play. So that's what my mind is saying to do. Or Andy Dalton is going to be so horrifically horrible that they push Justin Fields in. Like, that is they're not going to start Dalton and have him have like an okay game and they'll be like, okay, you're done. Come on out. We're putting Justin in now. It's just, I think that if you put yourself in the shoes of a rookie quarterback, right? You're in the spotlight. You're almost the new face of this franchise. You're just so excited about it. And you get pushed into the first week of the regular season in the NFL. And you've also balled out in the preseason. You have done phenomenal versing teams that haven't started their starters yet. So, like, imagine Justin Fields goes out week 1. Everyone has these high hopes for him. They're like, yes, Justin's in. We're doing it. We're great. And he just miserably loses. Then what? Put Dalton in. Now you're cheering Andy Dalton's name. Like, I understand where Nagy and Pace and the Bears are coming from with starting Dalton. Again, maybe Dalton will stink so bad that they'll just be like, oh, shoot, get him out of there. Just put Justin in. And not that I think Justin Fields is going to do horrible, but you have to just factor in the fact that they are nervous. They're scared. They're going to play an NFL game for the first time. So I am not opposed to Andy Dalton starting. I am excited to see how the Bears end up this year, especially with their division that they're in, with Aaron Rodgers coming back and the Vikings. I'm not even including Detroit, honestly, in this, but I think that it's going to be an interesting season for the Bears. And again, I'd love to see Justin Fields play. But Andy Dalton, give it all you got, buddy. You do you. You keep going on. You keep on keeping on. And you do you. Okay. The next thing on the list here is a specific preseason game that I want to talk about because of 2 storylines that came out of it. And that is the Saints-Jags game that happened Monday night. And the first thing here is, again, quarterback competition. It's like the main storylines of this preseason. It's just, that's what we're focusing on here right now. Jameis Winston. And again, last week, talked about this with James. We agreed. Jameis Winston should be the starter for the New Orleans Saints. And we have been saying that for a very long time. I was even saying that last season when Drew Brees got hurt, when he got, punctured in the lung, broke the ribs, whatever. I was so surprised and kind of upset that Sean Payton decided to start Taysom Hill. I was like, I like Taysom Hill. I like what he can do in a wildcat play. I like what he can do as a tight end. I like what he can do all over the field. I don't think he's a starting quarterback. Jameis Winston went off in this game. First quarter, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 beautiful touchdowns. Completed 9 out of 10 passes. And people will keep referring back to the 33 and 33 year. 33 interceptions, 33 touchdowns. Let's not forget that the man threw 33 touchdowns. And he didn't have LASIK eye surgery yet. LASIK, Jameis is all in, But, and they ended up winning 23-21 over the Jags. I will ride the Jameis Winston train until the wheels fall off here, as long as he's going up against Taysom Hill. Taysom, again, great player, great Swiss Army knife player. I really think having Jameis in there, now is being coached by Sean Payton for the second year, spent a year under one of the best quarterbacks ever, Drew Brees, and is just been learning this entire time, can now actually put himself in there. And when he started, I'm not used to my bar being here yet. Him starting in this game, he was so excited. He's like, I don't remember the last time I started in an NFL game. And that kind of broke my heart a little bit. He was literally the first pick in the draft, how many years ago? And now he's like, I'm trying to start in a game, which is absolutely bonkers to think about. I genuinely think Jameis Winston should be the starter here. He would be more, just better for this team. And we saw him connect with Marquez Callaway, an undrafted free agent from 2020, absolute superstar in the Saints camp this year. Both of the touchdowns that were thrown by Jameis were caught by Callaway. All over, really, really great stuff. And I will ride the Winston train for this versus Taysom Hill. It just makes so much more sense to me. Peyton is going to name a starter before the next preseason game. So this week, we're going to find out if Jameis Winston will be the starter for the Saints or not. So if this episode comes out, I'm recording, it's 6 o'clock on the 24th, currently 6 o'clock p.m. So if they name the starter by the time this episode comes out, I'm sorry, okay? I can't tell the future. But if it is Jameis, you heard it here first, people. You heard it here first. Anyway, the other storyline to come out of this Saints-Jags game comes from the other side of the ball with the Jaguars, and that is that their drafted running back, Travis Etienne, which everyone was so pumped about because Trevor Lawrence, obviously, went to the Jags, Clemson, and he got his running back in Travis Etienne, also from Clemson. He has a Lisfranc injury, which I had to look up because I did not know what that was. It is basically, if you're looking at a foot and this is the top of the foot and this is my pointer finger, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, I'm sorry if you're listening on the podcast, but I will explain it as best I can. Your big toe would be here, and your, the next toe. Basically, the bone comes down between those two toes to about the middle of the foot, and that's where the fracture is, at the bottom of, the middle of the foot between those two toes, way down below it. The left side, middle of the foot, between the two toes. Yeah, he had to get surgery on it, and unfortunately, this is probably going to end his season. So unfortunately, Trevor Lawrence will not be going into his first year as a rookie quarterback with his rookie running back with Travis Etienne. I'm kind of bummed. I was really excited to see Travis Etienne perform this year, especially with someone that he's comfortable with, like Trevor Lawrence. But odds are we will not be seeing him this year, unfortunately. So that's the other storyline to come out of this game. Seamless transition into injuries that may or may not come back. And somebody has come back that we were not expecting to come back this soon. That's Carson Wentz. Yes! Carson Wentz has returned to practice just after 3 weeks of having surgery where he removed a broken bone from his left foot. They expected him to, the timetable they give him at least was 5 to 12 weeks. So, ahead of schedule apparently, and he said, quote unquote, that he has played through a lot worse. Frank Reich seems to be very thrilled at the fact that he's back in practice. So the whole Eason Ellinger conversations that we've been having about who might start week 1 for the Colts, I think might still be in the works here. Not for starting week 1, but for when Carson Wentz comes back and gets hurt again. The man is the man made of glass. If he's pushing himself, that really sucks, and I don't think that's a very good idea. Carson coming back this fast is probably like really exciting for Colts fans, probably really exciting for Eagles fans because he has to play 70% of the snaps in order for them to get their conditional first round draft pick based off of the trade that happened. But it's making me nervous. It's making me so nervous. I genuinely think Carson Wentz is going to come back way too fast, hurt himself once again, and then we'll be having the Easton Ellinger conversations again, which I will stand my ground on Jacob Eason being the starter for the Colts. But again, it's very silly. I don't think that it's a very good idea for Carson to come back this quickly. But again, the man's made of glass. He could get hurt at any moment in time. But maybe he's feeling good. You know, maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe he feels fantastic and he's ready to come back into the game and he's ready to like do all this stuff and just live his best life. But I don't know. If I were Frank Reich, I'd be nervous. He's excited right now. Maybe he is nervous. Who knows? I would love to have a conversation with Frank Reich about this, but I just don't think. I think he should like just take like one more week. Just like chill out. Like, go to the 5 weeks that they offered you. Like 2 weeks from now, like, yeah, maybe get a little bit of, conditioning, practice, physical therapy in, and then work your way back in. I don't know. I've never had surgery before, but doing something physical after 3 weeks just sounds bonkers. And it's on your foot. That's like literally the thing that you walk on every single day. Not even practice on, just walking from one place to another. So Carson Wentz, I recommend that you chill out. That is a medical term for I'm writing you a prescription for chill out. And that just means sit on your couch with your babies, right? Doesn't he have 2 babies now, or his wife's pregnant? They have a baby, they have dogs. I don't know. Just like do your thing. Relax. Like, you don't have to prove yourself. Like, you're gonna be like Frank Reich's already said, this is Wentz's team. It doesn't matter when he comes back. This is Wentz's team. So you have no problems. Like, once you come back, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be chill. So take the prescription. Take the prescription for the chill out. Okay, it's gonna be good. And that's all I have to say about Carson Wentz. Last thing on the list here. Is a very small thing. But I just wanted to talk about it because of how much I want to be this person. Josh Rosen, the chosen Rosen, the original top 10 draft pick by the Cardinals the year before Kyler Murray was drafted. I believe maybe he was 10th overall. I don't even remember, but he was highly anticipated to be like really great in this league, and he is just hasn't been that person. And he's been around from team to team to team. He was on the Cardinals and he went to Miami, and then Miami sent him to San Francisco. And now San Francisco obviously doesn't need a quarterback between Jimmy G and Trey Lance. They don't need the chosen Rosen there. So chosen Rosen got dipped out, and now he is on the Atlanta Falcons, where honestly I think it could be really great for him, especially with Matt Ryan being their aging quarterback, so on and so forth. But he is in the position that I have said I've wanted to be in my entire life. And when people ask me, if you ever played football, what would you play? Apart from me wanting to be a running back, which is like the real answer there. I always said, like as a joke, like a backup kicker, right? There's no such thing as a backup kicker, but if it was, I would be a backup kicker. You get paid, you get to work out. You sit on the bench. A lot of times the real kicker will go in, take the heat, get all that scariness, and you're just there just in case something happens. And a lot of times nothing happens. Sometimes the kicker will get hurt, but a lot of times it's not a thing, He's just like, whatever. Josh Rosen has taken my advice and is not a backup kicker, but he's basically a backup quarterback that is disappointing no one. He is absolutely disappointing 0 people. And he has made over $18 million. Where do I sign up to be Josh Rosen? It's just incredible. Josh Rosen being around to 4 teams now as a solid backup, if he comes in, he comes in. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Like, people are just like, whatever. But he's made so much money, and he just like doesn't really play football anymore. He stays in shape. You know, like you're basically getting paid to work out, which is like fantastic. You stay in shape. You're still on a team. You're moving around. You're moving around the country, getting experiences from other places, and you're getting all this money. And on top of it all, you're literally disappointing no one. No one is like, oh, Josh Rosen. Oh my God. No, people are like, wow, Josh Rosen, I remember him. You know, people know who you are. People remember your name. But they're not associating you with anything bad. You just lost your job because Kyler Murray came into the mix. You know, that was the whole thing. People were like, oh, I wonder if Josh Rosen's going to stay. Like, no. Cliff Kingsbury came in. Kyler was always going to be the number one pick. And to be honest, I think that it's working out for the Cardinals right now. Josh Rosen moving around and went to Miami. You know, obviously wasn't going to play Tua and Fitz. Went to San Francisco. Obviously wasn't going to play because Jimmy and Trey Lance. Now he's here. I don't know if there's another quarterback. I'm actually going to look it up right now. If there's another quarterback in Atlanta, there's got to be. Atlanta Falcons depth chart. Other people are looking this up. I can tell. It came up real fast. QB. Okay. Also, we have, okay, on IR, there's AJ McCarron. So obviously he's not in the mix, but Felipe Franks is the backup quarterback for Matt Ryan. I have no idea who that is. Felipe Franks. So Josh Rosen, third string quarterback. That is my new position that I 100% would love to be, is a third string quarterback. Maybe you will get in the mix at some point. And maybe you'll be like in the news for like a week or two and everybody will be like, wow, Josh Rosen came to that game. He didn't win, but he looked great, you know, like that kind of thing. You know, with all these people getting hurt, like he came in, he stepped up for his team and he did the best he could. Like that's the types of stories that you're going to talk about. No one is going to be disappointed in you. Also, like your expectations are so low because you're a third string quarterback. Absolutely amazing. All I want to do when I grow up is be Josh Rosen. So now that he's on the Falcons, he can learn from Matt Ryan. He can learn from Felipe Franks, whoever that is, and just do his thing. Maybe Matt Ryan will leave. Maybe Felipe Franks doesn't work out there. Josh Rosen, all of a sudden, he's a starter for the Atlanta Falcons. Why not? You know, like, why not throw that storyline out there? So that is what that's just amazing. Josh Rosen, you are living the dream, my friend. The absolute dream. So that is the last story that I have for you guys here. Like I said, not a lot of things going on in terms of quarterback, you know, also just quarterback competition. Who's going to be starter? Preseason is flowing. It's going and it's coming to an end sooner than later. And in just a couple of weeks, holy cow, in like 2 weeks, we have football. It's going to be amazing. And I can't wait. So with the preseason winding down, regular season coming up, we'll have football again, my friends, and I can't wait to be talking about that every single week, hopefully getting some new guests, some reoccurring guests up on the show and talking about each week, each game. Very stoked. Very, very stoked. And if you guys missed it last week, fun announcement for me. I am joining Review and Preview, and I'm going to be the co-host with my friends Tom Scavetta and Hank and Dichter on the Big Blue Avenue show. All things Giants, all things New York Giants. So I'm very stoked about that. That's going to be at Thursdays at 7 p.m. Every week. We'll be recapping games, reviewing what will be coming up that weekend for the Giants. It's going to be a blast. So make sure you check out Review and Preview on Facebook and on all social medias. I believe it's just Review and Preview. So give that a look-sees, and Big Blue Avenue as well. So very stoked about that. If you're watching this podcast right now and haven't seen yet, I've most likely posted the Hard Knocks recap on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. So if you want to see a quick, fun little recap of the Hard Knocks episode from Tuesday night, it'll be episode 3. Give that a check out. And I think that's all I got for you guys. So don't forget to subscribe on all podcasting platforms, wherever it is that you get your podcasts from. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on notifications to make sure you get updated every time I upload a new video. If you're watching it on YouTube, give this video a quick little like. I would appreciate it very, very much. And don't forget to follow us on social, on Twitter at TGWTS Podcast, on Instagram and TikTok at The Girl Who Talks Sports. And I hope you all have a fun, fantastic sports-filled day, and I will see you guys all next week. Bye!